The one character who never cared about anyone, never showed weakness, never needed anybody, is standing completely alone, not saying a word, eyes empty. And for the first time in the entire digital circus, he looks absolutely broken. But that's not even the most shocking part. The most shocking part is what's coming out of his mouth when nobody else is around. And trust me, what he says is going to completely change how you see him forever. Meanwhile, the digital circus itself is falling apart around them. Kane is gone, the system is cracking, and every single character is one bad moment away from turning into an uncontrollable monster, with nobody left to stop it from happening. Episode 9 is going to be the most emotional, most heartbreaking, and most character-defining episode in the entire history of the digital circus. And today, we are breaking down exactly what every single character is going through, from Kinger's guilt to Pomni's leadership to Jax's rage, and what all of it is building toward. Episode 8 was unlike anything the digital circus had ever done before. It was not just dramatic, it was completely destructive. Kane disappeared. The system started breaking down, and every single character was left standing in the middle of the ruins of the only world they had ever known inside this place, with zero answers, zero hope, and zero idea of what comes next. The teaser that Glitch dropped after episode 8 gives us a first look at the opening of episode 9. The characters have all moved closer to the center of the circus tent, huddled together, quietly trying to understand the scale of what just happened, trying to figure out what they are supposed to do now. All of them together, except one. Jax is standing off to the side, completely separate, head down, eyes empty. And honestly, for anyone who truly understands what kind of character Jax is, this is not surprising at all. See, Jax has always had one strategy when things get too heavy: distance himself, stay alone, deal with it internally rather than letting anyone see what is actually going on inside. And in a normal situation, you could maybe understand that logic. But right now, with the digital circus literally collapsing around them, isolating yourself is probably the worst possible move. Because the abstraction process, the terrifying transformation where a character slowly loses their mind and becomes an uncontrollable creature, that process does not need Kane to trigger it. It is built into the system itself. Even without Kane around, any character can still abstract. And the only difference now is that instead of being locked in the cellar, they would just wander around the circus freely, completely lost and completely dangerous. So every character standing alone right now is a character one step closer to the edge. But for Jax specifically, the situation runs much deeper than just fear. There is something else driving that separation, and that something is pure, burning hatred. Remember what Jax said to Pomni during the cafe scene? He looked her straight in the face and told her that things were just fine before she and Zubil showed up, that everything that went wrong, all of it, traces back to them. And as cold and unfair as that sounds, there is a twisted logic behind it if you look at the history of the digital circus. Before Pomni and Zubil arrived, the circus was operating in a way Jax had actually adapted to. He was comfortable there. Not happy, but comfortable. And that matters for a character like Jax, because in the real world, Jax had nothing. He was a loser by his own definition. The digital circus was the only place that ever gave him any kind of power, any kind of enjoyment, any sense of control. He never truly wanted to leave. He hated Kane for lying to them, but leaving the circus entirely was never really his goal. And now that version of the circus is gone. Everything Jax had quietly built a life around, destroyed. And the person he has decided to blame for all of it is Pomni. So at the start of episode 9, what we're going to get from Jax is not just sadness. It's going to be raw, unfiltered anger. Anger at Pomni and Zubil for existing. Anger at the others for constantly pushing for an escape plan that he never wanted in the first place. Anger at Kane for building an entire world on lies. And somewhere, buried underneath all of that rage, anger at himself. Because Jax knows exactly what happened to Ribbit, and that guilt has never left him, not for a single second. However, and this is the important part, Jax is not stupid. Underneath all that anger and all those walls he puts up, Jax is genuinely sharp, and at a certain point, probably somewhere in the middle of episode 9, he's going to reach a conclusion on his own. No matter how much he hates the situation, no matter how much he blames the others, no matter how much he wishes he could go back to the way things were, he cannot. The circus is broken. Kane is gone. And the only way forward involves every single person in that tent working together, including him. I truly believe that after some honest, raw, painful conversations, the kind Jax has never allowed himself to have before, the other characters are going to surprise him. They are going to understand him, accept him, not because he deserves it in some simple sense, but because they are all they have. And when that wall finally comes down, when Jax finally drops the mask and lets the real version of himself show, it's going to be one of the most powerful moments in this entire show. Now, while Jax is off to the side fighting his own internal war, there is someone standing right in the center of everything, and that is Pomni. The teaser literally shows her in the middle of the group, and honestly, that positioning says everything you need to know. Pomni is going to be the driving force of episode 9. She is going to be the one who refuses to let everyone collapse into hopelessness. And the reason she can do that, even after going through everything she went through in episode 8, comes down to who she fundamentally is as a person. Pomni takes responsibility. She genuinely cares about every single character around her, even the ones who treat her badly. She's honest with her emotions in a way that none of the others really are. And she has this rare quality where she can look at an impossible situation and somehow still find a direction to move in. Yes, the recent events are going to hit her hard at first. She's going to panic. She's going to feel the weight of everything that happened. But Pomni snaps back. She always does. There's also something else about Pomni that's going to matter enormously in episode 9, and it goes back to something Kinger once said. Every character inside the digital circus has the ability to create things within the system, literally construct objects, spaces, environments, all from within the code. Most characters either never discovered or never fully developed the skill, but Pomni, she figured it out intuitively on her very first day. Things that took others years to understand, she grasped almost immediately. And in a situation where the circus is partially destroyed and everyone is struggling to just find stable ground, that ability is going to become incredibly important. Pomni is likely going to try to teach the others how to use this skill, how to build something within the broken system, how to create at least a pocket of stability in the middle of all this chaos. It will not be a way out, but it will be a way to survive mentally while they figure out what comes next. However, and this is where it gets really interesting, Pomni has one massive blind spot. She barely knows anything about Kane, about how the digital circus truly works at its core, or about what CNA actually was and what they did. She can lead, she can create, she can hold everyone together emotionally, but the real answers, the deep technical truth about this system, that knowledge belongs to someone else entirely, and that someone has been in the digital circus longer than any of them. That someone built the very foundation this world runs on. That someone is Kinger. And what Kinger is about to reveal is going to hit every single character like a freight train. We'll get into all of that and what it means for the final choice every character has to make in the next section. The one character who never cared about anyone, never showed weakness, never needed anybody, is standing completely alone, not saying a word, eyes empty. And for the first time in the entire digital circus, he looks absolutely broken. But that's not even the most shocking part. The most shocking part is what's coming out of his mouth when nobody else is around. And trust me, what he says is going to completely change how you see him forever. Meanwhile, the digital circus itself is falling apart around them. Kane is gone, the system is cracking, and every single character is one bad moment away from turning into an uncontrollable monster, with nobody left to stop it from happening. Episode 9 is going to be the